Hello everyone, this is Ashley Sullivan and this is the ACA Compliance seminar for this year. Today we're going to be talking to you a little bit about what is going on with ACA Compliance for this reporting year, what's new, what you need to know about, and most importantly, what you can do right now to try to make this year go as smooth as it possibly can. So our first slide is we want to start off right from the beginning telling you how we don't want you to feel this year. This is an image of instructions of how to flip your desk over. We don't want you to feel the need to do this year. This is how we do want you to feel this year. We want you to feel good about your ACA compliance, good about your ACA reporting. You may not feel, this might be an exaggeration, you may not feel as much joy as the woman on the slide right here, but we definitely want you to get as close to this as possible. What will you learn about today? What is new to ACA in 2016? What is different from last year? What do you need to educate yourself about? And what is going on for this reporting year? 2016 ACA reporting deadlines. We are going to let you know the deadlines that you need to make sure to know about, both IRS deadlines as well as Dominion payroll deadlines of when we're going to need you to complete things by in order to make sure that we can make this process go as smoothly as possible for you. How to audit data now to avoid most 1095 form errors. We have learned that accurate data drives accurate forms. There's a lot that you can do right now in iSolved with your data to make sure that it is clean and up to date as possible, and this will really help you a lot when you go and you preview your forms and you're reviewing them. It will help you have a lot less errors than you may have found last year. And next steps and helpful tools. What do you have to do next? What does the next month and a half look like for you? And what helpful tools are we going to give you to help you get through this reporting year? So first up is what is new for 2016. So October 3rd, we wanted to let you all know that the IRS released their final ACA forms and instructions. This means they released all these documents. They released a draft that you can see over to the right of what the form will look like this year. Fortunately, it looks very similar to last year. No major changes or restructurings that you need to worry about. It's very similar, but you still probably want to check it out. There were a couple important points that we thought may affect you all that you want to research that we want to let you know about. The first one is that they made some clarifications about aggregate ALE groups. And what this means, there weren't necessarily changes about what reporting means for you if you were an aggregate ALE group. They just clarified some of the gray area that may have been surrounding that last year. So if you think that you may be an aggregate ALE group, this is something that you'll want to look into and educate yourself on. Updated reporting methods. And what we mean by reporting methods is some of you may remember last year where we talked a lot about transition relief, and you were able to report through the transition relief method since it was the first year of reporting. This year, they've changed those methods a little bit since transition relief isn't necessarily a way you can report this year since it isn't the first year any longer. And so we just want you to give you a heads up about that and let you know to read up on that, see if that affects you all and what reporting method category you would fall under. And the last thing is 2 new and exciting codes to be aware of. That's 1J and 1K. So the good news is it doesn't appear that the codes changed very much this year from last year. It looks like a lot of them that we used last year are going to be able to be used this year, so hopefully when it's time for you to think of those codes again, I know you remember them, you probably thought about them in your sleep. It's time to think about them again, unfortunately, but hopefully it's like riding a bike and a lot of them are familiar to you, but there will be those 2 new ones. They have to do with conditional offers made to dependents. That's sort of what they surround and what they'll be used for. So if that rings true to you about something that your company has going on, educate yourself about those in case they're codes that will be appearing on your forms. So all three of these things are the major things that we wanted to let you know about. Still go check out those instructions. You can find them on the IRS website, and make sure to read through them to see if there's anything else that you'll want to know about. And in general, this is a lot of good stuff to talk with your broker about. They'll really be able to advise you if anything here affects you. The next new for 2016 is obviously, what does this mean for iSolved? If there were updates and changes to the IRS forms and instructions, what does this mean for iSolved? When will iSolved be updated to reflect these changes? That date is December 16th. We have a release scheduled for iSolved that on December 16th, all those updates should be made. Those new codes will be programmed. Any form changes, reporting methods, anything else that we really need to make sure to have in there for you and to reflect properly on the forms is currently being configured, and it will be updated on December 16th. And that's when it's scheduled for. So after that is the date at which you should be able to preview your ACA 1094 and 1095 forms and review them. And it will be your true forms that would be getting submitted, those updated forms. So those are two dates that surround what is new for 2016. Next up, 2016 ACA reporting deadlines. Like I mentioned earlier, we have IRS deadlines, and then we have DPS deadlines that we built in reaction to what those IRS deadlines are. And the first one up is January 31st, 2017. So you might remember that January 31st was the original deadline from last year before we got the extension until March 31st. We want to let you know there will not be an extension this year. January 31st, 2016 will be the true deadline at which you need to postmark those 1095B statements to your participants, and your participants are your employees. So you need to have those forms from us, and you need to either postmark them by January 31st, 2017, distribute them. They need to be, there needs to be proof that you have tried to get them to your employees by January 31st. And as far as the filing of those, so as most of you know, and if you're new, this may be new information, we do handle the electronic filing of all of your 1095, 1094 forms. And the electronic filing deadline is March 31st, 2017. So that is the date by which Dominion Payroll will file all of your ACA forms for you. And so DPS came up with two important deadlines for our clients, and they're really built off of what the IRS deadlines are. And these deadlines come with the goal of helping your reporting go smoothly for you. The first deadline we have relates to our new clients. New clients who we have never done ACA for, who maybe you became an ALE this year, or maybe you decide you want to do reporting with us this year. Please let us know and notify us by December 1st, 2016 that you need us to do your reporting. And letting us know by that date really will guarantee that we have enough time to complete this for you. We have enough time to implement your data, to educate you on how to review and produce your forms, for you to be able to audit your information and make sure that it's all happening accurately. Let us know by December 1st. This does not apply to our current ACA clients. If we did your reporting last year, we are assuming we're doing your reporting this year, unless you've told us otherwise. So you don't need to let us know. You are all set. This is just for anyone who we didn't do reporting for last year. And then our next DPS deadline is possibly the most important one. It is when your forms need to be approved by, when we need you to go into iSolved and hit that approve button on your forms. And that's you approving us printing and producing them and sending them to you. And that is January 6, 2017. Mark that date down, January 6th. That is when we need you to approve your forms by. And that is just so we have enough time to produce them, print them, and send them to you. And then you have enough time to send them to your employees by that January 31st deadline. We made our December January 6th deadline. With you in mind, we just want to make sure that we have enough time to get those to you for you to be timely and compliant. So we really thank you for being mindful of those deadlines, and those are the ones that we're going to follow to really do our best for you. So what can you do now? So I just talked a lot about December 16th, what you can do after December 16th, what we need you to do in the coming months. So what can you do now so that you're not just sitting around waiting for it to happen? There's a lot you can do. You can audit. Audit your information that's in iSolved. Verify that you have accurate records. Do that now so that when you preview those forms, they look great and it is much more painless, and hopefully you can just approve them. The first thing you can do, verify employment categories. When you go into employee management, employee maintenance, employment, and you can even grab a screenshot of this right now so you know exactly where to go, you want to check all of your employees' employment categories. This is because iSolved only produces 1095 forms for full-time employees, employees that are marked full-time in iSolved. It doesn't matter if they're working full-time hours, they need to be marked as full-time. So go through, check that all your employees' employment categories are right, that their dates are correct as well. That's really important, that you have accurate dates of when they were different statuses. If they've changed back and forth between part-time and full-time, create those historical records, make sure it's all true to what happened. And that will really help you and make sure that you're not missing any 1095 forms, or that you don't have 1095 forms produced for people who are really part-time. Verify medical start and stop dates. This is really important because this is exact area is what drives on your 1095 forms when it shows your employees were offered coverage and accepted coverage. This is exactly where that data comes from. So you can go to employee management, employee benefits, benefit plans. Check the enrollment records. Make sure that all of 2016's enrollment information is in here. So if you had a plan year that is mid-calendar year, make sure you have your new enrollment record and your old one so that all of 2016 is captured. Make sure the dates are correct. Make sure that they are on everything they should be on. Like I said, this is exactly what populates their coverage on those forms. So if you look through this area and you really audit everything and you get it accurate, you really shouldn't run into too many issues when you preview your 1095 forms when it comes to employees' offer of coverage and accepting or waiving of coverage. All right, we just talked about verifying employment categories, verifying medical enrollment records, and next, verify rehire, hire, and termination dates. You can find this under Employee Management, Employee Maintenance, Employment Status History. You want to verify that hire dates are correct, termination dates are correct, rehire dates. So if someone worked for you and then was terminated and then you rehired them, make sure all three of those records are in there so that when your 1095 ACA forms are produced, it shows when they were actually employed with you, aka when you were responsible for offering them coverage. You really want to make sure that's accurate. It only saves yourself, so you make sure you're truly reporting when you were actually responsible for offering coverage to your employees, and you don't have forms that accidentally say you were supposed to offer coverage when they actually weren't employed with you. Another thing to make note of is not only those dates, but also status of active, inactive, and terminated. We often see times where you turn someone inactive because maybe they're going on leave or they're not really working. You don't know if they're coming back. Time goes on, they stop working for you, and you forget to go in and terminate them. It happens all the time. Go back and make sure those people that are inactive are supposed to be inactive, that you weren't supposed to terminate them. Really check on that, and that will also help drive really accurate data on your 1095 forms. The last thing that you can audit only applies to our self-insured companies. So we have companies that are fully insured and self-insured. Most of our clients are fully insured, but if you are self-insured, and you can ask your broker to clarify this if you are not sure, then there's one last thing that you need to do. you need to verify that all dependents are in iSolved and enrolled in plans. That's because if you are a self-insured company, you also have responsibility to report on dependent coverage, not just employee coverage. So you're going to want to make sure that when you go to employee management, human resources, employee contacts, that all of your employees' dependent information is in there. And then you will also want to go back where I showed you how to audit your medical enrollment records. You also will want to attach any dependents onto those enrollment records that are also enrolled in those plans. And if you aren't sure how to do any of this, please give us a call. We are more than happy to show you how to work through this. And this only applies to our self-insured companies. Next steps and helpful tools. What else do you have? First thing is a 2016 ACA checklist. We have produced this for you to take this home with you today, and it is a step-by-step one-pager, very simplified, of the full cycle of ACA reporting for you and what you need to do. It'll remind you to audit all that information all the way down to previewing and approving your forms. And we think this is going to be really, really helpful for you. So take one of these home for you today, and also make sure to look out for a mid-December informational email. This informational email will include the copy of the 2016 ACA checklist for anyone who is not able to attend our seminar. It will include a guide we are creating for reviewing forms. Now that we know there are new codes and a couple new changes, we're creating a quick reference guide to reflect that. It'll have information on what codes means. It'll be very simplified, just a good quick reference guide for everything you need to know while you are previewing your forms, and more. So stay tuned for that. Lastly, next step, preview 2016 ACA forms. Just so you know, you can go in and start previewing your forms. Make sure you know that they will not be accurate until after that December iSolved update. When you look at them, they most likely will not look accurate because the updates aren't into iSolved. However, if you want to look at them to refamiliarize yourself with what the forms look like, and just kind of get back on the bike, get reintroduced to ACA forms reporting, you can go in there, same area as last year, and preview those forms. All right, main takeaways. These are the most important things that we just talked about. Deadlines. Write all these deadlines down. Make sure you know them. If you follow them, it will hopefully make this year go as smooth as possible. Research new ACA guidelines. Go to the IRS website. Check out what they released on October 6th. Talk with your broker if you need to. Research and educate yourself now so you are ready to go in December. Verify accurate employee data in iSolved. Go through all those steps of auditing your information and verifying it that we just talked about. And lastly, look out for an email from us mid-December with more information. Thank you very much for listening today. This was the ACA Compliance Seminar. If you have any questions at all, please contact us. We are happy to help. We are benefits at Dominion.